refusing to vote is a strategy,
Yeah.
Black people. So are you not going to vote?
No, unless somebody comes with tangibles for us specifically, I'm going to hold my vote. I'm going to be very strategic with it.
Democracy is a scam. Democracy is a system created by those in power to make poor people think you can radically transform your reality without violence and revolution. That's all democracy. That's why America says we got to make the world safe for democracy. Why you got to make the world safe for democracy? Because if most of the people in the world woke up, they would understand a ballot ain't going to change shit.
All right, brothers, buckle up. Buckle up. I'm going to say something that you don't want to hear, but that you need to hear, right? And this is not me pointing a finger at you. I'm included in this as well, right? And once again, obviously I'm not talking in an absolute, but I'm talking about, the majority for the most part. And the fact of the matter is this. Politically, for the most part, Black men don't matter. That's just what it is. Politically, by and large, Black men are irrelevant, right? Obviously, I'm not talking about everybody. Obviously, there's certain Black men who are rich, wealthy, famous, charismatic, and moving their way up the ranks in the political world. And so, yes, that small percentage of men, they have a certain level of importance and influence. But by and large, Black men overall politically do not matter for several different reasons. So many, I don't know where to start, but I think I'll start here. Listen. First of all, and there's a reason why, that's probably why I played those two clips at the beginning. I played those clips at the beginning to show you part of the reason, right? There's far too many Black men who don't vote at all. Like, the data shows that in the last few elections, only 27% of Black people overall vote consistently. Only 27% of all Black people vote consistently, number one. Then number two, half of all Black voters are in 8 states. It's like California, Illinois, Texas, North Carolina, to name a few, right? So first of all, most of us don't vote. Second of all, of those of us who do vote, we're in a handful of places. It's very simple. A lot of us don't matter politically, and we don't seem to recognize that. But when you have that, once again, that's why I played the clip at the beginning. When you have, I know a lot of people don't like these guys or may not respect these guys, but the fact of the matter is these guys do have huge names and huge platforms. And when you have one guy who's talking about he's a Pan-Africanist and he's for Black liberation, but when it comes to voting, he don't do voting because it don't work, and he's spending all this time talking about snow bunnies. It's like, come on. Then you got the other guy, he's always talking about a suspected white supremacist, but then he sits up there talking about I'm going to strategically not do anything, or I'm going to not vote strategically. Basically, my strategy is to do nothing. All the while he's on YouTube making political video after political video and making diss tracks about tethers. And once again, whether you personally respect them or not, both these individuals have pretty big followings. So you got that. It's really simple once again. Once again, most of us don't vote. A lot of us are following people who are telling you not to vote as some sort of strategy. But then when you just start looking at other numbers, this is where we got to look at the incel stuff and the gender war stuff. Believe it or not, the gender war and all that kind of thing plays into your level of influence and relevance within political society and within Black America. Because let's just be real. A huge part of the reason why a lot of Black men don't matter politically is because they don't matter in the Black community. And so if you don't matter in the Black community, you're not going to matter politically, because they're going to go, the people who want the votes and need the votes and are in positions to put people in position and give out things for votes, they're going to people who are actually plugged in the community and who matter in the community. And if you are saving yourself from the Black community, if you're a passport bro, if you're a let the community burn type of brother, if you're spending all your time on the internet, on YouTube, hopping from stream to stream, and then you're hopping on Twitch, then you're hopping on Rumble, you're following Tariq Nasheed, Umar Johnson, Rollo Tomasi, Coach Greg Adams, BGS Sid Moore, Tommy Sotomayor, the list goes on and on and on. Spending all your time arguing about, Black cultural issues when you don't even matter in the Black culture, you don't matter politically. And so a lot of us are complaining about, oh man, when it's time for elections and votes and stuff, they always go into the women. Well, and this, y'all gonna be mad when I say this, but listen, Black women, by and large, matter. Like when you talk about the Black community and the movers and shakers and who's in charge, they matter for the most part. A lot of us do not. That's just, it is what it is. I mean, it's really simple. Like I know the whole statistics about the what's it called? I forget the name of it, but basically the stat that talks about, single mother-led homes. I know that number only represents the number of women who have kids that are not married, and it doesn't represent the number of men who are in the house. And there is a good portion of men who are in the house. I saw a stat that was from 8 years ago that said at that time, around 60% of men were in the house, married or unmarried. But once again, it's been 8 years since then. And we got to be honest. We have normalized a co-parenting, baby mama, baby daddy culture. It's perfectly normal to get with somebody, have a kid with them, break up, and then y'all just co-parent in two separate different homes. So we got to be real. If we're going to be honest, at this point in time in Black America, I'd say around half, and that's being nice, I'm saying around half of Black children do not grow up with both of their parents in the same house. They grow up spending some time in mom's house and then sometimes at dad's house. So that's not saying that the dad isn't involved. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm talking about the level of influence. If you're not in the house with your child 24/7, by definition, you have less influence over your children. So let's go. Let's start talking about the level of influence and power, or whatever you want to call it, that Black men have in the Black community. 40% of incels are minorities. So let's just say of the 40%, let's just say 20% are Black men. Let's just say 20%. I'll be generous, 15%. Meaning these are individuals who are pretty much invisible outside of online spaces. So you got between 15 and 20% of Black men who are completely invisible in the community, right? Then you got, let's just say, another 50% of Black men who don't have as much influence over their children as they need or want to have because they are in a co-parenting situation. So when we start talking about mattering politically, once again, Individual people outside of like very rich or very wealthy or very famous people, those are the types of individuals that matter politically. But everyday people, they matter in terms of their community. And so the everyday black man, for the most part, does not matter politically because too many of us are not relevant in our community. We're not on PTAs, a lot of us. A lot of us, we don't want to coach sports anymore in the neighborhood. We're not mentoring. We don't have nonprofits. Because remember, we're saving ourselves. We're letting the community burn. We're getting our passport. We're Blexiting the black community, all that kind of stuff. So a lot of us are spending a lot of our time by ourselves or online. So we're not going to community meetings. We're not running for local offices. We're not voting in local elections. We're not a part of nonprofit organizations. We're not involved in community movements. We're not, campaigning for political candidates. A lot of us are loners. That's either if we have kids or not. Because once again, if we have the kid, then when it's our time to have the kid, we spend our time with them, take them back and forth to school, and then we give them back to mom. Then we're back to our independent loner lifestyle, not really involved or connected to anything, including the church. Because a lot of us are talking about the direction that a lot of churches have taken. And I agree. A lot of churches have taken a very negative turn. But now we got to start to talk about why. I was looking at statistics, right? And I couldn't believe this number. But then I thought about it and I said, you know what? It does make sense. Black women make up 70%. 70% of the black church. So when you see certain types of sermons happening in the church and them endorsing certain candidates and saying certain things and doing certain things, and you thinking, why are they pandering, or why are they doing this, or why are they doing that? That's because 70% of the congregants are black women, not men. 70% of black women. Well, you got a growing number of incels. You got a growing number of men who are detaching themselves from anything community or family or black America related. Just completely disconnecting, spending the majority of their time online. You have a growing number of children who don't have dad in the house 24/7. I remember a lot of us got upset when they were talking about black women save democracy. But listen, and were they, pandering? Yes, they were. But there's a reason why they pandered to black women specifically and not black America and not black men. There's a reason why. The AKAs are about to launch a PAC for Kamala Harris. How much money do you think they're going to put in that AKA sorority Kamala Harris PAC? I guarantee you it's going to be multiple millions of dollars in addition to what was already given. Not to mention, let's just be real. Black women, whether you like it or not, are showing up and showing out for Kamala Harris, especially those who went to HBCUs, especially those who are in Greek organizations. They are showing up, they're showing out, they're in full support, they're giving their money, they hitting the streets. Black women matter politically because they matter in the community. If you're going to go to the black church, you got to go through them. If you're going to go to the black families and black communities, you got to go through them. If you're going to go to the schools, you got to go through them. It is what it is. The fact of the matter is, Black women are heavily involved in all aspects of black life. Whether you agree with what they're doing or not, they're involved. Whereas on the flip side, a lot of us black brothers just are not. Once again, on one side, you got popular voices saying that doing nothing and staying home is some sort of strategy, while they're on these juvenile quests about snow bunnies and tethers. Then you got a whole bunch of men who are having women problems and spending all their time online and, oh, now I'm blexed in the black community, or I'm not a part of the community. I'm going over here, I'm going over there. So they're not involved in anything, not plugged into anything. You got a whole bunch of brothers who have kids who are not in the kids' house 24/7. A lot of brothers not plugged into community organizations, not involved with the church at all, not really involved politically at all. Don't really have black male organizations or black male powwows or, like, let's be real. If we like, and I know some people in these types of things. When we talk about membership and things like Masonic lounges and things like that, in terms of younger brothers getting involved, the numbers are dwindling. It is what it is. The number of strong, serious, heterosexual black men that are moving and shaking in the community is ever dwindling. That's just what's happening. You know one of the clearest signs that you could ever see that black men don't really matter? The fact that there are so many black men being killed in the streets, broad daylight. On top of that, it's being talked about and bragged about and threatened across social media. It's being talked about and bragged about all on the music and all on the songs. And nobody's really saying anything about it. We're all playing the songs. We're all dancing to it. We're all partying to it. We're treating these people who make this kind of music as legitimate people that are worthy of praise and awards. That goes to tell you, black man's life is not worth all that much. Like, truth be told, the black man is at a crisis. A lot of brothers in jail, a lot of brothers losing their life, a lot of brothers are lost, completely detached from the black community at large, completely detached from society for the most part, spending so much of their time on the internet, listening to grifters who are taking their time and their money and not helping them out at all. Can't find them in the Masonic lounges. You can't find them on college campuses. You can't find them in community organizations. You can't find them in churches. Like, it's time for us to be real, man. The fact of the matter is we are spending far too much time talking about what the women are doing, what the woman's problem is, why she need to fix this, or she needs to change that, and she needs to do this and do that. We're spending way too much time on that. When the fact of the matter is, as black men, we gotta spend a lot more time building with each other, empowering each other, building each other up, strengthening each other, working towards our own interests. That's just real. How much longer, how much more time are you going to spend complaining about what the women are doing? What's wrong with the woman? Oh, it's a gynocracy. Oh, they want to be in charge. Oh, they want to separate themselves from black men. Oh, they don't. Oh, listen. Stop. At a certain point, it's time for a conversation about what we are going to do for ourselves and each other and how we're going to turn our situation around. How many more elections are we going to be sitting around crying, talking about, oh, they don't talk to the black man. They don't ask the black man what he wants. They don't do this for the black man. They come at the black man and they talk down to him and tell him what he better do. How many more elections are we going to complain about that? How many more? Before brothers actually start to empower themselves. Because I tell you one thing. When you respect somebody, when somebody has something that you want, when you actually see value in somebody and you want to work with them and partner with them, how you approach them and how you speak to them is completely different. But they can speak to you and come at you any old kind of way because, once again, a lot of us are irrelevant. That's just what it is. And so because of that, we are so quick to hop on and jump on these other brothers, all because you being a simp or you're selling out or you're being blue pill. And listen, I'm not even, before we get too far into that and what they are or are not doing, at a certain point, we got to have an honest conversation. If you are a brother and you reach a certain level of success and you're moving and shaking and you have more aspirations to do this and to do that, and you may want to, come through with a more masculine agenda or a program or whatever the case may be, here's the problem with that, though. If we had more brothers in certain positions, quote unquote, standing up for the brothers, who would be there to actually support this brother? Let's just be real. Because we're so quick to say this brother, he not standing up and he backing down and he bowing down and da-da-da-da. Okay, if he were to stand loud and proud and stand strong, what level of support would he realistically get from all of you guys talking about how he needs to stand up? Do we have communities that we can plug him into? Do we have businesses that we can plug him into? Do we have networks? Like, come on now. Truth be told, if a lot of these brothers decided that they were going to stand up the way a lot of you want them to stand up, and they were, stripped of their title, stripped of their position, stripped of their ranking, they would just be asked out. Because it's not like y'all are going to be there to stand in the gap and help him out and pull him back up. No, you don't have a system for him to plug into. So he's going to stay over there doing what he got to do over there with them. Like, he been working and climbing to get to wherever he getting to, and you telling him to throw that away without you having anything to offer him. Like, that don't make sense. Come on now. But just to wrap this up, yes, a lot of us, most of us, are irrelevant politically because we're irrelevant in the community. Like, the black community don't go through us. We don't have no say-so around here, a lot of us. We don't have no vote around here, a lot of us. We don't have no skin in the game, a lot of us. Let's just be real. And so at a certain point, you got to ask yourself, are we going to do something about it, or are we just going to keep on whining and complaining?